Greetings everyone, welcome to the Spankey Guitar YouTube channel. Today we are going to be reviewing a new amp that I recently got yesterday, and it's the Marshall. It's a 100 watt head, and this thing is actually pretty large. I actually had recently got these two Marshall mini stacks recently. Well, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I was definitely satisfied with them, with those two. They sound great, 10-inch woofers, and I didn't really need this. I didn't see the need to get a big 100 watt head, just because the area I'm in is not very big. But when I saw this come up in my local buy sell, the deal was just too irresistible. So here we are, sitting now in the studio of the Spankey Guitar YouTube channel. So this is what we're going to be reviewing today. So just a little bit of history on this guy. So this one is a 2009 model. This is basically, it was designed for more of the budget-friendly, less expensive Marshall line. And this one is the MA series. It's a MA100H. And I did a bit of research on it, and I know it's it's not a JCM 800 or anything like it's not the top of the line Marshall, of course, but I plugged it in, and it could be, everything works. It still has the stock Marshall tubes in it, so that may be one thing I will be modding this thing to, just to get a little bit of optimal performance out of it. And so just quickly here, we'll go through some of the functions. Oh yeah, first, yeah, it's a 2009 Marshall, and back then, I guess a fellow by the name of Steve Dawson, who was a designer or an engineer for Marshall, I guess he was with the company for 10 years. And at that time, he was tasked with designing a new amp that would be, more accessible to users that, that don't have the $3,000, or, that the high-end type of finances that the top of the Marshall line. And so this is what he came up with, the MA series. And so what so some of the he no longer works for Marshall, but some of the some notable heads and models that he did make were the Super 100s, some the vintage modern from Marshall, Class 5 from Marshall, the MA series, the JMD 1 series, and a couple of others, JTM. So yeah, this is a this one has 4 power tubes and 3 preamp tubes. So like I said, I was happy with the 2 mini stacks, but these are solid state from 1999 and 2006. They both great. 2009 full tube, and this is what I was missing from my collection of amps. I actually just sold my PV. There's the Boss behind here, a couple of Bosses, but I just sold my PV, and so this is the new acquisition. So yeah, back to the controls here. Power, standby switch. So this is the master section. It has 2 channels, an overdrive section here and a clean section. So for the master section, it has a presence, and I'll plug the guitar in, and we'll go through this one by one. But presence, resonance, reverb, volume, overdrive, or treble, middle, bass, gain, crunch balance, overdrive channel switchers, boost between clean and overdrive. So here's the clean section, volume, treble, middle, and bass. So there's also, going back to reverb, there's a spring reverb tank in there somewhere. We'll have a quick look at the back and the tubes. But what I was reading, I forget how it goes. I just, at low volumes, you have to have the presence all the way up and your resonance somewhere around here to get the good volume. And if you're on full 10 volume, high max volumes, then you should be having your presence down and your resonance up. So that's an interesting thing. So yeah, back to the reason why I didn't really want a big full 100-watt head is because you know, I'm just in my small studio here, and I don't really need the max 10 volumes here. But eventually maybe I'll gig this thing, so take it to a show, hopefully, maybe, and go from there. And it's always nice to have a different you know, sound if you're doing some recordings in the studio. And I think that's pretty much it. I'll switch. I'm just gonna switch the amp around, and we'll have a quick peek inside. Okay, so here is the back of the Marshall. Took the back panel off, and so yeah, it has 4 power tubes, and so here they are EL34, all 4 of them, and then I think these are EC83. Yeah, so there's these, and these smaller ones are the preamp tubes. One there, and then there's 2 back there. And so I don't recommend taking the panel off of your amps if you're not familiar with the electronics. So I don't really want to go in there and create any static electricity or anything. But if you do have to, I think you should be grounded, definitely. And so ground yourself on a piece of metal, and then you could fiddle around with the other hand, or ground yourself somehow. Anyway, but so yeah, here we have 2 by 16 ohms speaker cab ins, or 1 by 8 ohm. Here's a 1 by 16. Here's a Footswitch input. I don't have a Footswitch, so I'm gonna have to get one of those. Bypass, loop, return, send. I do have a trainer Footswitch. For those of you that are more familiar with those, I wonder if I could use my trainer Footswitch for that. Anyway, so there's the power out. This is the transformer, 2 transformers. So yeah, back to the preamp tube locations. So a common upgrade to Marshall amp. These are apparently, they say Marshall on them, but they're just rebranded JJ tubes. So they're the same as JJ's, and some people don't like them, some people do. I think in my case, I am going to switch them out to see if I can get a different tone. So I forget which position. There's 3 positions for the preamp tubes, and if the first one is has to do with noise level. So if you have one that has a preamp tube that is sort of noiseless on volume, I think I'm just kind of going from memory. I'm not proficient with all of this electronics on a circuit board, but so maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. And then the position 2 is where the gain stage is. So on that one, I'm looking for some high gain volumes. So I'll be getting a 12AX7, one of these guys, but that has a higher gain, such as 12AX7. And for the last position, V3, is they said it's probably a good idea just to leave the regular Marshall tube in. So those are for a future episode if you guys want to check that out. The reason I put this one here is a small orange micro dark 20-watt amp. This is also a tube. See the tube in there? That one is a preamp. That also looks like a JJ tube or groove tubes. I'm not sure. Actually, I might use the tube in this guy to switch into to put in one of these, swap one of them to see what that does. But anyways, in terms of price, one of these were obviously more expensive than the other, and can you guess which one I paid more for? And I'll give you a hint. I paid more for the one that's not Marshall. Anyway, so yeah, let's get on with some tone demos. Okay folks, so we're all set up here. I'm going to be using the Gibson Les Paul Standard. This is the 2019 version with the when they revamped the Gibson lineup a couple of years ago. And I've got I only have 2 speakers mic'd up to or hooked up to the Marshall. 2 10-inch speakers, so those are 16 ohm each, and with mic'd up to Shure SM57, Audio Technica AT2020 out to the back. And for those of you that have never owned tube amps before, what you got to do is you have to let these tubes warm up. So when you first turn your amp on, first of all you have to, this is very important, that you have to ensure there's a load on the amp itself. So ensure that you have your speaker lines, make sure those are hooked up to the amp itself, because without the speaker lines or load hooked up to it, you could do some pretty serious damage to your amp. And so that's one important tip. Another one is you have to let your tubes warm up for maybe 5 or 10 minutes before you actually start playing. And I think it has to do with the filaments inside the tubes. You have, for optimal performance, you need to have those warmed up before playing. And there probably is a different reason. I forget why, but maybe one of you guys who are watching can give us a tip, some tips as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna start off on the clean channel, and back to another reason why I got this. Sorry, I'm taking a while getting to the tone demo, but I wanted to mention this. Back when I was in college, I got a crate, Blue Voodoo. It was a 120-watt half stack. So you know, it had the head like this, and it had the 412s, and I ended up selling it only 3 years. I think I only had it for 2 or 3 years, not in a situation where I didn't want to. I pretty much let it go for next to nothing. So I kind of sympathize with the guy who sold this one, because I got this on a very good deal also. So anyways, that sort of left a void in my some of the reviews on it. Of course, it's not going to compare to GCM 800. You know, there's a huge difference in the construction of the components. Lots of things to consider there, but for what it is, I'm very happy with it. Okay, so I'm just, like I said here, I have everything on 12, and over here is the clean channel. So we'll just start here. Okay, so we're switching back to the Overdrive channel. And I'm gonna switch around with the knobs again. This one's the treble. Here is the middle. That's with low mids, zero mids. Here is middle mids. Treble. Oh no, this is the bass. That's full bass. I'm gonna do that little trick that Steve Dawson, the creator or designer of this amp, for low volume. I'm going to put the presence on high and the resonance on low. And here's the gain. The gain was only at 12 o'clock. Crunch balance. This one's gain. Full gain. No gain. Okay, so I added the Ibanez tube screamer in the front of the amp just to see what it does. Okay, so I just switched guitars for a second. This is a Gibson Les Paul Classic. I usually keep this one tuned half step down, so D sharp, and the Gibson Standard was in regular tuning. So let's just see how this one sounds with the half step down. And that's that, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section for the Marshall MA100H all tube amp. If you like the guitars, thanks for taking your time and watching my videos. Please subscribe. Still lots more to come, folks, and see you again soon.